The world has changed. Has it really? Are today's challenges really greater than the ones we have been facing over the last hundreds of years? And even if they were, why does that mean that our world needs a reset? What does a world reset even mean in the first place? And although the Great Reset launched on June 3rd, 2020, the seeds for it had been planted a long time ago. So let's go back to November 12th, 2016. The World Economic Forum publishes an article titled 8 Predictions for the World in 2030. And the very first prediction they made, number 1, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Whatever you want, you'll rent. Now they've been seeding the whole you'll own nothing and be happy narrative for almost a decade now. Now, who exactly has been pushing that? Who are the puppet masters behind this whole narrative? It's an international organization called the World Economic Forum. Now, the World Economic Forum is basically an intergovernmental organization that connects the world's most powerful countries with government leaders from all major countries. Now, their objective? Tackle the world's most crucial challenges, which according to them are climate change, carbon emissions, gender pay gap, amongst a myriad of other things. And here are some of their members. CEOs such as Zuck and Bill Gates. You know, the classic ones everyone knows and dislikes. Other members such as Biden, China's dictator, Putin, Trump, royal family. It's basically a mastermind full of billionaires and the world's most powerful people, both from the private and public sector, who all take their jet or even fleet of private jets into Davos, which is obviously quite ironic considering that they're trying to tackle global warming and all that. But nonetheless, let's ignore that. So they jet into Davos every year to plan how to reshape the world in a more sustainable way, using their own words. They label themselves as independent, impartial, and not tied to any special interest. Now, I don't know about you, but that last part sounds ultra suspicious to me. I wonder why. Now, the more I researched, the more the World Economic Forum looked like the exact opposite of that. I mean, a lobbyist organization that only has their personal interest and the one of its members in mind, all while trying to make it look like they have other people's interests in mind by exploring the hot topic issues of today's world. Now, the first reason that led me to this conclusion came from questioning their very own narrative. You'll own nothing and be happy. Now, there's a few things we can infer from this claim. First one is someone has to own things. I mean, if you don't own anything and I don't own anything, then who does? It probably means that someone will have to own everything. So it seems like their great plan is just to own everything. And secondly, you're still gonna need to have a house, a car, a phone, a computer, a stove, a fridge. And if you don't own those, well then you're gonna have to rent them. And everyone else will have to rent from the same individuals who owns everything. So if the only way for you and I to access things is by renting them from the ones that own everything, doesn't that also mean that they'll have complete control over you, me, and everyone else, because they can practically choose who they rent it to and under what conditions they rent it, since we really don't have any other options but to rent from them. And listen, I don't know about you, but for me personally, that doesn't sound too good. And once again, following in their line of thinking, if you own nothing and are happy, does that mean that the people who own everything will be sad? You know, are they doing this as an altruistic effort to spare us all the pain of owning anything, so that way we can enjoy the peace of mind of owning nothing? Well, that doesn't seem too logical to me either. So maybe you'll own nothing and be happy so that in turn, they will own everything and be happier? Sounds like a great win-win situation, doesn't it? To me, it sounds like you will own nothing is just another way of saying we will own you. And the more I researched this, the more questions I had. Who's behind the World Economic Forum? What's their actual agenda with this whole Great Reset plan? How do they plan on implementing it in practice? Like, how are we gonna go from owning houses, cars, and other consumer goods to just simply owning nothing? I mean, is the government gonna come knocking on our doors with guns and saying, hey, all of your assets are now mine? So in order to get some answers, let's go back to our investigation board and let's point our efforts to Klaus Schwab. So we've got the first character that plays a role in this plot, the World Economic Forum. So next obvious question to ask is, who runs the World Economic Forum?